And the first of the Cosmos players. Good afternoon and welcome to the Olympic Sports Field Kensington for this all-important game between Adelaide City and the New York Cosmos, brought to you by WD&HO Wills, the makers of Escort 25. And as you join us, the Cosmos players just beginning to come onto the field. Carlos Alberto, the Brazilian international, captain of the Fumeantia club before he joined Cosmos, coming out onto the field. Moraes, number 31, also a Brazilian from Santos, he comes out onto the field, central defender. Formoso, one of the American players in the Cosmos side, he's a US international too, coming out onto the field. And the big cheer is for Franz Beckenbauer, captain of Germany and one of the finest soccer players ever to grace the park. Neeskens, Dutch international, played with Feyenoord when they won 3 European Cups. Bogićević from Red Star Belgrade in Yugoslavia, 57 odd caps for his national team. Dennis Tueart, the English player, former Manchester City player. And the roar, as we predicted, for Chinaglia, the sole Italian in the Cosmos lineup, former Lazio Roma player. Number 11, Seninho, a Portuguese player from the FC Porto club. Yassin, the substitute goalkeeper, played several games for Turkey. 21 is Etherington, young All-American player. Cabagnani, Durgan, number 24, a US junior international. Number 12, Ryan. And number 15, coming out last, he'll be on the bench, but he too is a superb player, a Dutch international. And here come the Adelaide City players. Their goalkeeper, Peter Marshall. Bugsy Niskus, one of the 2 central defenders in the Adelaide City lineup, Australian international. Bobby Russell, another central defender. He's a Scottish player, but recently played his first game for Australia. John Bessier, very good, solid defender. Many games for the South Australian state team, and behind him Glenn Dodds, the New Zealand international. Here comes John Perrin, another Australian international. Waiting for Gary Murocchi, also an Australian international, and following him Aggie Muniz, a South American player, has also played many times for Australia. Johnny Neeskens, another Australian international. What a galaxy of players this afternoon. Here comes Dixie Deans, former Scottish international, leading PSL goal scorer in the first year of the competition. Chris Kent coming out. Vic Migliaccio, the substitute goalkeeper, very young player, very exciting prospect for the Adelaide City club. Sergio Melter coming out, another young player who's fitted very nicely into this Adelaide City squad. And following him is Brian Northcote, who's suffering from an ankle injury, but is really valuable, destroying midfield on his day. And Muir playing a central defender's role. He'll be on the bench from the kickoff, but a very tall, very dangerous player when he moves forward. Signori, another youngster, he played in the under-19 teams for Adelaide City, and he's just working his way into the squad. And that's the end of the official introductions. A veritable galaxy of soccer talent. Here come the officials to the usual half-hearted cheers and boos from the crowd. Donald Canberra, a FIFA international referee, will be in charge of this game this afternoon. And on the line, it looks like John Kerr will be one of the linesmen. Peter Rampley is there. and Carlo Barlow is also there, so there'll be two linesmen and a substitute linesman who takes over should anything happen to the referee during the course of the game. For this all-important game between Adelaide City of the Phillips League and the New York Cosmos from the United States. And this game brought to you by WD and H.O. Wills, the makers of Escort 25. We've had the national anthems, the players are warming up, and very soon this game will get underway. And at the moment, the two captains, John Perrin of Adelaide City and Chinaglia of the New York Cosmos, have exchanged the customary flags that are given before these all-important games. And referee Donald Campbell, a FIFA international referee, a very qualified referee, will toss the coin to see which way the game will get underway. And very soon, this game will be on its way. And as we wait for the kick-off, the two respective teams warming up, and I'll quickly run through the teams for you. For Cosmos, in goal, Birkenmeier. Wearing number 2 at right fullback is Eskandarian from Iran. Carlos Alberto, the Brazilian international, at number 5. Moraes, former Santos player, wearing number 31. Formoso, wearing 25, a US international. In the midfield, Franz Beckenbauer, probably the king of soccer, wearing number 6. Next to him, one of the players who played against him in the 1974 World Cup final in Munich, wearing number 13, Neeskens. Beside him in the midfield, the dynamo of the Cosmos side, Bogićević, number 8, Yugoslav international, played with the Red Star Club in Belgrade before joining the Cosmos. And up front, wearing number 7, Dennis Tueart, former Manchester City and English international. Centre forward, Chinaglia, wearing number 9, player formerly with Lazio Roma, and wearing number 11, Seninho, played formerly with FC Porto and also several games with the Portuguese national side. And it looks as if we'll be playing, as we are, Adelaide City playing from left to right as you watch, and Cosmos, I think, no, Cosmos won't be kicking off, so they must have won the toss and chosen the ends, and Adelaide City will get this game underway. And as the game gets underway, I'll run through the Adelaide City lineup. Johnny Neeskens with the ball, next to him Dixie Deans. Referee Donald Campbell has a look at his watch, has a quick chat with Bogićević, and the game gets underway. Perrin, Muniz, nice ball out on the right to Bugsy Neeskens. Cleverly keeps the ball in play, into the middle it goes, looking for Perrin. A long shot from Gary Marocchi goes out of play on the far side of the field. And Birkenmeier, the goalkeeper for Cosmos, will tell you a little bit about the players as this game gets underway. Short one to Eskandarian on the right, Iranian international. Nice ball for Moraes. Moraes across to Formoso. Formoso, Carlos Alberto. A lovely ball for Moraes again, slow build up by Cosmos. Beckenbauer on the ball. A lovely through ball looking for Neeskens, but comes for Dennis Tueart. Tueart back to Eskandarian, Eskandarian to Beckenbauer. Finds Moraes. Moraes, a long ball. Comes to Bugsy Neeskens. Bugsy Neeskens looking for Deans, but Carlos Alberto will get there first. Looking for Tueart, but cut out on the far side of the field by Glenn Dodds, wearing number 12 for Adelaide City, a New Zealand international who joined Adelaide City at the beginning of this season. Dodds on the right, can't control it, and it goes out of play for a throw-in to the New York Cosmos. To Beckenbauer. Carlos Alberto inside him, pushes it to Moraes again. Moraes got space, he's got Formoso on his left, gives it to Tueart instead on his right. Back to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer holding the ball, beautiful skills by this player. Lovely ball across the park to Carlos Alberto, switching the point of the attack. Out again to Formoso. Formoso to Carlos Alberto, Brazilian international. Back to Marias. Marias, deep ball looking, finding Neeskens. Neeskens going across the goal, leaving it for Tueart. Tueart to Marias. Long ball looking for Neeskens, a header and a great save by the Adelaide City goalkeeper Peter Marshall. The chance came out of nowhere, but Neeskens was there to send a powerful header goalwards and finally saved Moroki now on the left. Out to Glenn Dodds. Neeskens covering him. Dodds looking for Deans, but the linesman on the far side of the field has found an offside decision, and the first free kick of the afternoon going to Cosmos. We've been playing just on 3 minutes in the first half. Birkenmeier pushing it to Alberto. Alberto down, but cut out by Johnny Perrin. Chris Kent on the ball. Tries to go past Eskandarian, but gets a second bite at the cherry. Inside it goes to Johnny Bessier. Muniz loses the ball, finds Johnny Neeskens. Back to Muniz. Muniz to Deans, a lovely ball across, but cut out just as Gary Moroki was moving in to a dangerous position, finding Beckenbauer moving forward for the first time so far. Out on the right to Bogićević, Yugoslav international, but he loses the ball to Glenn Dodds, but wins instead a corner on the far side of the field. Bogićević, the player on the ball just then, and the player about to take this corner kick. 57. Inside it goes. Bogićević trying to be a little bit too clever, losing the ball to Chris Kent. Perrin moving forward with him, getting the ball now. He's got Johnny Neeskens in space. Forward it goes, looking for Deans, but Deans has been found in an offside position, and another offside decision. The Cosmos playing very much for that sort of position, forcing the play to be very much bunched between the halfway line and the penalty box, making it difficult for the City players to get into scoring positions. Neeskens on the ball. Back to Carlos Alberto, across to Marias. Marias to Formosa, keeps the ball in but loses possession to Neeskens. Neeskens going forward, losing it to Beckenbauer, comes to Aggie Muniz. He's got Bugsy Neeskens making a run on the right, finds that player, lovely ball. It's quickly centred, but Alberto is there. Comes to Formosa, Beckenbauer going in. Neeskens to Perrin. Perrin back to Bessier. Bessier to Moroki. Comes to Sanino. Sanino to Neeskens. Neeskens to Beckenbauer, back to Neeskens. Formosa. Neeskens to Eskandarian on the right. Iranian international, played against Australia in the World Cup eliminations. Bogićević losing the ball to Muniz, but eventually works its way to Formosa. Formosa to Sanino. Back to Formosa. Very slow build-up by the Cosmos, playing possession football at this stage. Alberto to Eskandarian. Eskandarian, nobody going to him. He's moving into a dangerous position. Lovely ball square, looking for Tueart. Tueart having to go back outside the box. Back to Eskandarian. Eskandarian into the middle it goes. Bogićević flicks it back, looking for Beckenbauer. Comes to Neeskens and back to Eskandarian, so the build-up can start all over again. To Alberto. Alberto, a nice ball for Sanino. Sanino accelerating past Johnny Neeskens. There could be a shot on here. Neeskens, but Moroki it was who blocked the attempted drive, and it comes to Deans. Former Scottish international, has played with Adelaide City for 2 full seasons. Marias forward looking for Tueart. Tueart down on the right to Eskandarian. Back Tueart coming back for the return ball. Eskandarian going for a run down the right. Nice ball from Tueart looking for that player, but Johnny Bessier gets there first, but only at the expense of another corner to the New York Cosmos. 7 minutes gone. Adelaide City 0, New York Cosmos 0. And this game being brought to you by WD&HO Wheels, the makers of Escort 25. Marshall with the ball now for Adelaide City. Dodds coming short for the run, but Marshall having now to go long as the route forward is covered. It's a long kick straight down the middle of the ground. Up goes Chris Kent, but he's beaten to the ball by Eskandarian, but it falls. A long ball for Deans. Deans is forward, he's being held. And it's a shot, it's on the ball! It was Johnny Neeskens who got clean away. Went past Carlos Alberto. Alberto thought that he'd better not try and hold him, and the shot whistled just inches wide of the post. A lovely shot from Neeskens, Australian international, continuing his very good form against Cosmos, which he displayed in Sydney on Wednesday night. Ball now to Alberto. This might liven this game up a little bit. Alberto, strange ball across the park to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer heading the ball back to his goalkeeper and Birkenmeier. Beckenbauer going forward, looking for Tueart. The tackle comes in from Dodds, but the ball falls for Marias. Eskandarian to Alberto. Alberto to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer, nice ball across the park to Tueart, who's moved left. But the tackle, fierce tackle from Dodds, finds Formoso. Beckenbauer doing the fetch and carry work for the Cosmos team in midfield. Out to Carlos Alberto, Eskandarian going on the right. Inside it goes for Neeskens. Neeskens heads it back to Bogićević, to Neeskens. A header across the goal. Chinaglia tries to get in, but a goal kick to Adelaide City is the result. But clever work there by the Cosmos players. Neeskens, the little flick header back to Bogićević, across to Chinaglia, and that almost spelt a whole heap of trouble for Adelaide City. Marshall with the goal kick. Up goes Deans, wins the ball from Beckenbauer, and Beckenbauer feeling, I think, that he got a bit of a push in the back, but referee Donald Campbell not terribly interested in that obstruction. Bogićević loses the ball, comes to Bessier. Bessier, a nice ball on the right to Dodds. Deans ahead of him. Deans will get the ball, but he'll also get Marias. Inside to Muniz across the park, headed away! And again it was Johnny Neeskens. A beautiful build-up, started by Dodds. Dodds to Deans, Deans inside to Muniz. A flick-on header to Neeskens, but he was unable to control his header. But nice football in the first 10 minutes or so of the first half of this game. Dodds going forward, it's a bad ball from Dodds, and that's no trouble at all for Marias, the Santos player who joined Cosmos 2 seasons ago. Alberto across on the left to Formoso. Formoso cleverly controlling the ball. He's got Tueart on his left. Tueart goes in with Glenn Dodds, goes past Dodds. Flicked on header for Bogićević. Bogićević to Tueart, and a powerful shot, but the control was not very good at all. And in fact, you can see that from the fact that Adelaide City have got a throw in on the far side of the field. But once again, when the Cosmos players accelerate into attacking positions, very dangerous and very quick moves. Interception finds Bobby Russell. Russell to Muniz. Muniz, a nice ball to Dixie Deans. Deans on the right, he's got Russell going for a run. Should be a long ball across. And Birkenmeier controls the ball, throws a lovely ball to Bogićević. Nice control, he's got Formoso on his left, gives the ball instead to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer across to Eskandarian. He's got Alberto with him. Comes now to that player. Back to Eskandarian. Back to Carlos Alberto. Forward it goes now, looking for Neeskens, but the ball's cut out. Not a very good clearance. Comes to Muniz. Muniz deep, looking for Deans. Lovely ball. Deans, a nice little flick onto Gary Marocchi. He's got Johnny Neeskens square. Neeskens can control the ball. Neeskens going past one player, past two to Marocchi. Marocchi flicking it on, but the shot finally from Johnny Perrin, not a good one. Bogićević. Forward looking for Chinaglia. That was a handball, but referee says play on. And a good save once again from Peter Marshall. But certainly from where I was looking, it looked as if Chinaglia got a little bit of control on that ball with his hand. Comes to Muniz. To Bugsy Neeskens. Back now to Gary Muroki on the left, flicked in across the field looking for Johnny Neeskens. Alberto with the ball, Dean's going at him, comes to Beckenbauer, to Dennis Tueart to Carlos Alberto moving forward, back to Tueart. He's got Alberto with him, nice ball to that player. It's going to, no, he tries to do a little bit too much, and Johnny Bessier takes the ball away from him, gives it to Johnny Neeskens. Two Neeskens players in the Adelaide City lineup. To Muniz, and Muniz was obviously hoping for a free kick, but the referee said no, and the crowd don't like it very much. Comes to Marias. Tueart can't control the ball, looking for Chinaglia. Perrin waiting for the lead. To Russell, who played his first game for Australia on Wednesday night, came on in the second half. To Bessier forward for Muniz. Nice skills from that player. He's got Deans on his right. Got Neeskens, he's onside. So the referee, the linesman flagging on the far side. Certainly it looked a very close one to me. I thought Neeskens, the rule in soccer is that the offside decision is not when it gets there, but when the ball is played, and from where I was sitting it appeared that Neeskens was onside when that ball was pushed forward to him, but still the referee's decision is the ultimate authority, and finally the ball works its way back to Peter Marshall and across on the left hand side of the field to Bugsy Neeskens, to Chris Kent. Now that one was as wide as the proverbial barn gate. Deans must have been fully 10 metres offside. We've been playing just on quarter of an hour, and still the score here at the Olympic Sports Field Kensington in Adelaide is Adelaide City 0, New York Cosmos 0. Marias on the ball to Formosa. Formosa back to Marias. He's got Bogićević on his left, got Formosa with him. Formosa goes past Neeskens, nice ball across the park to Alberto, Alberto to Beckenbauer, Beckenbauer back to Carlos Alberto, Eskandarian square. Eskandarian pumps the ball into the middle, up goes Chinaglia, but he can't control it, and it comes to Johnny Neeskens. Neeskens almost losing the ball to Tueart, forward to Muroki going in with Formosa. Eskandarian forward to Bogićević. Looked like a little bit of argy-bargy there, but again, referee Dick Campbell says play on. Chinaglia to Sininho. Sininho running out of space at the moment, looking for someone to make a lead. Gets past one player, but can't get past Deans. Deans to Muniz, a nice ball out on the right to Neeskens. He's onside this time. Muniz going forward. Muniz going into space. But the pass when it came was a little bit too late, and not much use to Muniz as he accelerated into position. Counter-attack Cosmos. Tueart going for a run on the right. This could be very dangerous. Tueart accelerating into the box. Goes past one player, has a shot, and it's a goal. Dennis Tueart receiving a beautiful ball from Beckenbauer. Went past the Adelaide City defence, and Peter Marshall came off his line to narrow the angle, and calm as a cucumber, Dennis Tueart flicked the ball into the bottom left-hand corner of Peter Marshall's goal, and we've been playing 16 minutes, and Adelaide City 0, New York Cosmos 1, and we cross now for an escort action replay. Adelaide City kicking off, trailing by 1-0, and what a great goal it was too by Tueart. Comes again to the player who put the ball in the net just a few moments ago. Comes to Johnny Bessier. Bessier out onto his left to Neeskens. Oh, Perrin losing the ball. Comes to Neeskens. Neeskens and Muniz. Muniz losing the balls to Neeskens. Perrin going at him, and it's a long kick off the feet of Neeskens, I think, and certainly the end result is a goal kick to Adelaide City. 17 minutes gone. New York Cosmos 1, lead Adelaide City 0. A goal scored 2 minutes or so ago by Dennis Tueart. Marshall with the goal kick. But it's a very poor kick indeed, and it finds touch on the far side of the field for a throw-in to Cosmos. Eskandarian with the throw-in to Tueart. Dean's going at him. Tueart holding possession, pushing the ball back to Alberto. Looking for Beckenbauer, comes to Tueart, Tueart to Beckenbauer. Finds Eskandarian on the right-hand side of the field. Eskandarian going forward, finds Sanino, he's onside. Here comes the cross, it's a dangerous one, up goes Neeskens. Just breasted down by Glenn Dodds. Comes to Dixie Deans. Deans having to slow play down, waiting for players to get into position. It's got Chris Kent going for a run down the left. Still holding possession. And of course, by the slow build-up, it allows the Cosmos. Muniz looking for Muniz, but Beckenbauer reading that ball well. Intercepts for the New York Cosmos. Bogićević going for a run. Tueart getting the ball. He's got Formoso ahead. A lovely ball for Bogićević. There's no defence at all at the moment. A great save by Peter Marshall. And really, Bogićević should have made a little more of that situation. He found himself alone in front of the goal with only goalkeeper Peter Marshall to beat. And a fine save by that player denied Cosmos a 2-goal lead. Finds Sanino. Portuguese international to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer, a poor ball from that player across the field to Chris Kent. Kent waiting for someone to make a lead, goes past Eskandarian, but Eskandarian comes back at him, and Eskandarian has won himself a throw-in on the far side. Back to Alberto, just inside the City half of the field, back to Eskandarian. To Sanino. And a throw-in to Cosmos. Comes to Alberto, Alberto to Neeskens, lovely play, and it looks, oh! What a ghastly miss by the number 9. Chinaglia alone in front of goal. He had the whole of the goal at his mercy. It would have appeared simpler to put it in. Maybe the ball bounced just as he was about to kick it, but certainly an expensive miss, and what a beautiful build-up and a lovely run by Carlos Alberto. And that goal kick will have to be taken again because the rules state that the ball has to leave that penalty box. Taken again to Bugsy Niskahus, and the City defence will have to tighten up a little bit if they're not to be on the wrong end of our hiding this afternoon. Into the middle it goes, but no trouble at all for Peter Marshall in the Adelaide City goal, and a goal kick on the far side is the result of that nice attacking little move that finished rather poorly by Sanino on the right for Cosmos. We've been playing just on 20 minutes now, and still the Cosmos lead by 1-0, scored in the 14th minute of the first half by number 7, Dennis Tueart. Up goes Alberto, wins the ball, comes to Neeskens. Neeskens back to Carlos Alberto. Alberto across to the left to Formosa. Niskahus going at him outside, looking for Tueart. Finds that player at the second attempt. Dodds is there. Inside to Formosa. Back to Carlos Alberto. Marias going down the middle of the field. Lead is on from Beckenbauer, but that wasn't a good ball from that player. Comes to Bogićević. Back to Carlos Alberto. Marias to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer going in circles, but not really holding possession, but not really moving into a dangerous position. That's a nice ball, looking for Bogićević. Finds Agi Muniz. Muniz forward, looking for Chris Kent, but the ball's behind that player. And again, the ball goes out of touch on the far side of the field for a throw into Cosmos. There's no doubt that the City players, for them, probably one of the greatest games they'll ever play in their careers. No doubt they're overawed. No doubt the thought of playing against the sheer names that are on the park this afternoon would be enough to intimidate almost any player, and yet 6 of them are Australian internationals, so they've got plenty of skills in their team. Comes to Tueart, to Neeskens, and a poor shot from Neeskens in the end goes behind for a goal kick. When you think that the New York Cosmos, $100 million worth of player on the transfer market, and players that have won just about every honour that the world game of soccer has to offer, European Cups, World Cup Winners' Cups, South American Cups, whatever there is in the game to be won, the players on this park have won their fair share of them. Deans and Merocki going for the same ball. Comes to Tueart. Tueart to Bogićević. Lovely skills from that player. Nice ball to Marias. Marias has got Formoso on his left. Got Carlos Alberto in a central position. Alberto, a bad ball looking for Chris Kent, but again finds Carlos Alberto. Back to Marias. To Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer, long ball deep, looking for Sininho. He'll control it just outside the box. Here comes the centre. Comes to Neeskens. Neeskens got Muniz on his right. Muniz on his right, still going for the run, but the pass delayed too long. Perrin going for a run down the right, but again the ball finally finding Perrin, but the pass was far too slow, really. Muniz, a long one, looking for Deans, and the ball goes over that player, finds Beckenbauer, headed away by Bessier, finds Chinaglia. Chinaglia to Tueart, and the referee has found, I think, an offside decision. I didn't see the linesman's flag go up, but Donald Campbell obviously saw some sort of obstruction. I'm not quite sure what it's for. Anyway, the free kick taken by Russell quickly. Oh, surely a free kick. Without a doubt, Marias climbed all over the back of Johnny Neeskens. Marias looking at the referee, he can't quite understand it, but there's no doubt at all that a free kick to Adelaide City about 15 metres outside the box. And John Perrin is the set-piece specialist. Dodd's going for a move on the right, but I think it'll be a set-piece pile driver, probably Muniz touching it off to Perrin. Here comes the shot. It's a nice shot, and goalkeeper Birkenmeier did very well to put that one around the post for a corner kick to Adelaide City. I think the first of the afternoon for them, and as we suggested, it was the usual Adelaide City ploy of Muniz, the little touch on to Johnny Perrin, who's got one of the hardest shots in Australian football, and he sent a whistling shot low to the goalkeeper's right, but Birkenmeier on that occasion equal. Here comes Muniz, but that's useless in the sense that it's far too close to the goalkeeper. No trouble at all for Birkenmeier. Long ball, looking for Chinaglia. Bessier gets there first. Dodd's on the ball, pushing the ball, looking for Muniz. He won't get there. Deans and Beckenbauer going for the ball. Bogićević going for it. Comes to Chris Kent on the far side of the field. Up goes Deans. Dangerous ball, but nice goalkeeping. Finds Carlos Alberto. Finds Bogićević. Beckenbauer. Eskandarian. Back to Beckenbauer. Dodds is there. Dodds going forwards. He's got Neeskens on his right. This calls for an early ball. The balls are too slow, allowing the Cosmos players to get back into defensive positions. Dean's going forward. Perrin going for a run on the left. Trying to get the ball across. He gets the second chance, but looked like a bit of feats from Eskandarian, but the referee says a throw into City, quickly taken. To Perrin, to Muniz. Merocki going into the box. There goes Merocki, little headed flicked on, but doesn't find the player it was looking for, and referee Campbell has whistled for an obstruction on Carlos Alberto by the number 7 for Adelaide City, Aggie Muniz. Tueart. Beckenbauer leaving it for Neeskens. Back to Alberto. Forward for Tueart, and a very clever ball. Tueart accelerating into position, and Dodds is there to Russell, and Russell pushing the ball back to Peter Marshall. Bobby Russell having one of his best spells for Adelaide City, struggled early in the season for the last 20-odd games of this, his first Phillips League season in Adelaide, has been a majestic player, and that was capped when he was picked for the first time in the Australian national side, who played Cosmos in Sydney on Wednesday night. Glenn Dodds, a full forward it goes, looking for Johnny Neeskens. Marias gets there first, finds Formosa. Marias, Marias again, back to Formosa. Beautiful skills by the Cosmos players, but that's a bad pass. Finds Muniz. The build-up still too slow. This could be dangerous. Chris Kent, and nice shot by Chris Kent, but Birkenmeier again equal to it. Cosmos paying the penalty for a little bit of I don't know what you call it, smart football, I suppose, making the City players look silly, and one bad pass leading to a beautiful breakaway, and Chris Kent almost getting an equaliser for Adelaide City. We've been playing 28 minutes in the first half. Cosmos 1, Adelaide City 0. Goal scorer Dennis Tueart in the 14th minute. Marias. To Johnny Neeskens. Dodds going for a run down the right. And again, Dixie Deans has been found in an offside position. A couple of those offside decisions, I have to confess, have been borderline, and certainly the Adelaide City crowd a little bit restless about that. There have been 4 or 5 that have been quite obviously offside, but a couple where really it would have been only a whisker or two in it. Comes to Morocco. Neeskens on his right. They need to switch the point of the attack. Kent has gone on the left. Perrin coming in to fill in the space. Finds Bessier. Finds Johnny Neeskens. And Johnny Neeskens has been fouled for an infringement on Formosa, the number 25. Very happy player, Formosa, obviously seeing the humour of that situation. Comes to Alberto. Eskandarian on the right. Eskandarian to Sanino. Sanino losing the ball, but winning himself a throw-in on the far side of the field. Sanino to take it, waiting for someone to make a bit of space. Neeskens was supposed to go into space, but Bessier read the play very cleverly and comes away with the ball for City to Morocco. Morocco to Muniz. The build-up's got to be quick. If they hold the ball, they allow the Cosmos players to get back in numbers, and that's when the problems begin. Here comes the cross, looking for Dixie Deans. It's a nice ball, but goes off the head of that player as far as Birkenmeier. Birkenmeier to Beckenbauer. The Cosmos players quite happy to hold possession until players move into space. Not a good ball really from Beckenbauer. Finding Gary Morocco going forward for Neeskens. Is he quick enough to get there? If he is, it could be dangerous, but he just not quite able to get to the byline in time to cross it. A nice ball from Morocco, sensing that Neeskens had gone for a run down the right, but that player just unable to keep the ball in play. Eskandarian forward looking for Chinaglia, headed down by Russell, finds Muniz. Muniz to Dodds. Dodds going forward, Bogićević coming back to tackle him, and Dodds still going with the ball. This could be good. Across it goes. Deans is there, headed forward, but the header wasn't a powerful one, and Birkenmeier not much trouble at all with the final effort. 31 minutes of the game gone. Adelaide City 0, New York Cosmos 1, and this game being brought to you by WD&HO Wheels, the makers of Escort 25. Sanino with the ball to Bogićević. Looking for Neeskens, finding that player, taken away by Perrin. Finds Kent. Kent to Deans. Deans to Morocco. Morocco to Muniz. Muniz losing the ball to Sanino, too slow again. Sanino accelerating, a lovely ball out on the right to Tueart. Tueart, the man who put Cosmos ahead after 14 minutes. Into the middle it goes, cleared away by John Bessier, forward looking for of the City players, but finds Bogićević via Neeskens. Neeskens to Tueart. Tueart into the middle. Russell is there. Takes the ball away, finds Gary Mulrocky. Mulrocky to Perrin. Dodds. Neeskens going forward. Kent on his left. Dodds going for a run on his right. The ball being pushed. Dodds still going for it. Wins himself a corner kick on the right-hand side of the field, and going across to take it is the number 11, Chris Kent. Kent with the corner. It's not a good one. Comes across, almost made something of it. Comes to Glenn Dodds. This could be a powerful shot. It is headed away to Carlos Alberto, Formoso, and back to Birkenmeier. Seems to me that when City move ahead in numbers and when they move forward quickly, the chances are there of catching this Cosmos defence fairly square. But when they delay too much, and Chris Kent has been penalised, quickly taken again to Chinaglia, but he can't control it, and it's going to Adelaide City. As I was saying, it seems that City's best move forward is when they move forward quickly and in numbers, but the slow build-up is really playing straight into the hand of Cosmos, who are the experts really at this sort of slow pushing game, which gives the players time to get into positions. Perrin, a nice ball looking for Mulrocky again. Again, Carlos Alberto is there. Mulrocky did well to block off the path to goal. Alberto, Beckenbauer, Marias, Beckenbauer. Lovely ball to Neeskens, back to Beckenbauer. Beautiful control these players have got. Except the final pass, of course, on this occasion going astray, but the length of pass and the accuracy of the pass of this Cosmos team, really something that we don't get to see quite in such quite with such skill in Australian PSL soccer. Looked like a foul on the far side of the field. Eskandarian still with the ball. Dean's going after him. Kent wins the ball, but is unable to keep it in play, and Cosmos get themselves another throw in. 34 minutes of this game gone. Still Cosmos 1, leading Adelaide City 0. The goal scorer after 14 minutes, the Manchester City and English international Dennis Tueart. Formoso on the left. Finds Chinaglia. Chinaglia still with the ball. Dodds managing to brush the ball away from him, but only as far as Alberto to Beckenbauer. To Eskandarian. Back to Beckenbauer. Eskandarian going for a run down the right. Very skillful player who Australian fans will remember played in Australia during the 1978 World Cup eliminations. Dean's on the ball. Tries to go past one player, manages to do so. Finds Perrin on the left. Into the middle it goes, up go the heads. Birkenmeier is there, far too close to the goalkeeper. Tueart to Bogićević to Neeskens. Beckenbauer on his right. Bogićević going forward. But the ball goes into touch of Chris Kent for a throw-in again to the Cosmos. Bogićević to take it. Eskandarian. Tueart going for a little run. Comes instead to Marias, who's now got space in the centre of the field. Past Muniz he goes. To Chinaglia. Chinaglia trying to turn to get a shot in. Being well marked so far by Bobby Russell. Looking for Neeskens. This could be again dangerous, but just a little bit too long. Neeskens unable to get to it, and another goal kick to Adelaide City. Glenn Dodds taking it, looking for Johnny Neeskens, but he comes away from him. Formoso going for the ball with Glenn Dodds. Dodds having a good game, certainly giving Formoso plenty to worry about in this, the first half, and the sun shining now as City move forward. Dean's inside to Mulrocky, but a bad ball from that player. Finds Marias. to Bogićević. Cevic to Beckenbauer, too long for him. And it goes over the head of Chris Kent for another throw into the Cosmos on the far side of the field. Bogićević to Marias. To Neeskens, back to Marias. Chinaglia trying to turn on space, goes past Bobby Russell for one of the few times so far this afternoon. Bad ball from him, finds Sanino. He goes past Glenn Dodds on that occasion, past two of them, and he's obstructed. And it'll be a free kick to the Cosmos on the edge of the box, an indirect free kick. Bogićević takes it quickly to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer looking for Chinaglia, but it goes over his head. And another goal kick to Adelaide City. And as we talk, one of the Adelaide City players warming up on the front touchline. It's Brian Northcote, who really is the dynamo of the Adelaide City team, has been throughout the season. He wasn't selected today because he's been carrying an ankle injury for the last 2 months, but coach Rale Rasic has obviously decided that his drive in the midfield is required to get that penetration I was talking about. Comes to Dixie Deans, to Neeskens, looking for Muniz. Be interesting to see who Rale Rasic takes off. Muniz, Formoso coming at him, tries to go past Alberto. Again tries to go past Alberto, and not very good play at all by Muniz. Bogićević to Tueart. Nice ball to his right to Neeskens. Neeskens moving forward. Scored the penalty goal in the 74 World Cup final after Cruyff was brought down in the first minute. But Holland went on to lose that game by 2-1. And again the ball in touch to Neeskens. Neeskens to Muroki. Muroki, a nice ball to Deans. He's onside this time. If he can get the ball into the middle quickly, but that's really no use to anybody. Oh! Goodness gracious me, the referee allowing play on. That looked certainly like a case of foot up to me. And Birkenmeier taking a long kick quickly to Sanino. Sanino and Dodds going for it together. Nice play by Dodds. He's had a good afternoon in marking Sanino so far in this game. Going to Cosmos. Neeskens coming back. Bogićević. Beckenbauer inside him. He's got Alberto forward. He's got Chinaglia square, but ball finds Formosa on the very far side of the field. A nice ball to Eskandarian. Inside to Alberto. Lovely build up by Cosmos. This looks very dangerous indeed. Looking for Tueart. Tueart looking for Alberto. Comes now to Beckenbauer. Kent to Deans. This could be dangerous if City can break quickly. They must break quickly. They've got to push it forward. And once again, the build-up was too slow. Had Deans pushed the ball to Kent at the time that Kent made his run, Kent would have been in a wonderful position to accelerate through the empty Cosmos defence. But Deans held on to the ball too long, and by the time the pass came, Kent had already run into an offside position. And on the far side, Kent not looking terribly happy with that pass of Deans's. 41 minutes gone of the first half. New York Cosmos 1, leading Adelaide City 0. The goal scorer Dennis Tueart, and still Northcote down on the touchline going through some exercises. One wonders what the purpose of bringing him on at this stage is, with only 4 minutes to half time. Deans with the ball, Neeskens on his right. An early ball required, but again the ball being held too long, I feel, by the City players. Comes to Perrin. Perrin looking for Neeskens. Cleared away only as far as Muroki. Muroki's got Kent outside him. This could be good. Chris Kent will centre the ball across, and Birkenmeier got his hands to the ball, and I think Aggie Muniz must just have clipped him as the ball went past. But certainly that's the closest Adelaide City have come to scoring since that pile driver of Johnny Neeskens very early in the game. And Birkenmeier down on the ground, he appears to be in some pain. He definitely received some sort of a clip from Aggie Muniz, but Muniz, of course, going for the ball, couldn't be expected to halt his run in mid-stride, but Birkenmeier certainly collected something. And that was a lovely ball, made possible by a flick from Perrin to Meraki, out onto the left to Chris Kent. His hard, low shot across the box, almost flicked in by Aggie Muniz, but City have won themselves a corner. And Birkenmeier is ready to continue. Comes to Glenn Dodds. Again, it's too slow, the build-up, making life difficult for themselves, but Chris Kent has time to flick it in. He's got to do it quickly, and the ball is... Seems to me that City are delaying just too long, a little bit apprehensive. Bessir tries to find Chris Kent, but the ball was a little bit too wild, and Cosmos in the shape of Formosa to take the throw in. Back to Alberto. Alberto to Beckenbauer. Across from Alberto to Marias. To Beckenbauer. He's got Eskandarian going for a run on the right. It's a lovely ball. Look at the control of the pass from Beckenbauer. And Eskandarian is stopped in his tracks, but only at the expense of a corner. And it looks like a quick, short one. It's taken very quickly indeed, and the City players not awake to it. Tueart across the box. Chinaglia and Neeskens. Oh, clever play from Neeskens. Looking. Could be a shot from Sanino, I think it was. Yes, it was Sanino on this side. A lovely shot that just whistled a couple of inches over the bar, but that's the play of Cosmos in the box. They're so electrifying when they get anywhere near that penalty box. The ball, when it went initially across to Neeskens, looked fairly innocuous, but Neeskens got on the end of it. Chinaglia almost managed to get in a shot. It ricocheted to Sanino, and he very nearly put Cosmos 2-0 ahead. Marshall with the goal kick. About a minute to go to half-time. Time for City to try and snatch an equaliser. A bad ball from Aggie Muniz. Beckenbauer losing the ball to a clever bit of play by Aggie Muniz. Chris Kent on the ball. He goes inside his man. Across to Meraki. Meraki looking for Perrin. But Perrin now. Neeskens again, Aggie Muniz, but only as far as Bogićević. Bogićević to Tueart. Tueart on the right. He's had a great game so far. Look at the control of the player. Inside to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer with space. Neeskens going for a run. So is Carlos Alberto. Finds Neeskens. Across to Beckenbauer. This could be a shot from that player. It ricochets as fast. Chinaglia. He's gone past one player. And it's gone behind for a corner kick to Cosmos. But what a lovely 1-2. A 30-metre ball found Neeskens. He flicked it across back to Beckenbauer, who'd accelerated into position. He almost managed to get a shot in it, ricocheted to Chinaglia. Here comes the corner kick. Across it comes, looking for Neeskens again, and referee Donald Campbell says that's quite enough of the first half, and he blows up. We have a half-time score here at the Olympic Sports Field of Adelaide City 0, New York Cosmos 1. The goal scorer, the number 7 for the Cosmos in Dennis Tueart. A great goal in the 14th minute. We'll be back for the start of the second half, when we'll bring you the next 45 minutes of this very exciting game, brought to you by WD&HO Wheels, the makers of Escort 25. And as you rejoin us, the game about to get underway. New York Cosmos leading by 1-0. A goal scored in the 14th minute of the first half by their number 7, Dennis Tueart. And Adelaide City have made a substitution. Chris Kent, the number 11, has come off, and number 8, the player that we saw warming up just before half-time, Brian Northcote, has taken the field, and the game gets underway. Chinaglia back to Beckenbauer. To Eskandarian. To Tueart. Meraki going for the ball. Comes to John Perrin. Bogićević cleverly winning the ball away from him. Neeskens. Timely tackle. Comes to Tueart. Tueart to Bogićević. To Beckenbauer, to Chinaglia. To Perrin. Perrin to Bobby Russell. City moving forward. He's got Northcote outside him if he wants to use him. Goes inside, a handball decision. Referee says play on. Comes to Bogićević again to Alberto. Bogićević, the Red Star and Yugoslav international, 57 full caps for his country. Taken away by Russell. Muniz outside him, and Dean's unable to control the ball. The ball that perhaps would have been better, although obviously it's easier from here than it is down there, would have been a squarer ball to Muniz, who'd run into space. Alberto comes away from Neeskens, finds Bobby Russell again. He's moving forward far more in the second half. Comes to Morocco, referee almost getting in the way. Back to Bessir. Bessir with time to build an attack. Out to Bugsy Neeskens. Neeskens losing the ball to Carlos Alberto. To Dennis Tueart. Bogićević inside him, the ball a little short. Bessir controlling it to Muniz. Muniz, Johnny Neeskens is there, but he leaves it for Brian Northcote, who's just come onto the field, looking for Neeskens on the right. Comes to Dodds. Dodds going down the right-hand flank. Trying to go past Formoso. He goes past Formoso, flicks it inside. Here go the heads. Headed away. This could be dangerous. It's headed. It's against the bar. Goodness gracious me, how close could they get? I think it was Brian Northcote who got his head to the ball. The ball cannoned against the bar with Birkenmeier on the Cosmos goal beaten, and that's as close as City have come to scoring. Comes to Eskandarian. That was a lovely build-up by City. And a free kick has been found by referee Donald Campbell. It was certainly a foul on Eskandarian. There can be no doubt about that. The crowd booing, but one wonders why. Beckenbauer, Moraes losing the ball. Comes to Brian Northcote again. Northcote to Muniz. Muniz leaving it for Perrin. Perrin to Johan Neeskens. Johan Neeskens on the right side of the field, going past Formoso. Formoso managing to stop Neeskens getting a shot in so effectively, in fact, that he manages to win a goal kick for the New York Cosmos. But certainly that was the most enterprising attack we've seen all afternoon by City, and very nearly leading to an equalising goal with 3 minutes of the second half having been played. Bogićević doing a little bit of pushing, but referee Campbell says play on, and has awarded a throw-in to City on the far side of the field. Muniz comes to Alberto. A ball looking for Tueart. Comes to Bugsy Neeskens. Neeskens looking for Deans, but Tueart will get there first. Tueart back to Eskandarian. Back to Birkenmeier in the Cosmos goal. Out onto the left to Carlos Alberto. Accelerating forward. Goes past. Nice ball onto the left. And it's gone into touch, but not quite into touch. In fact, here comes Brian Northcote, and already his presence after 3 minutes is quite noticeable on the game. Comes to Bobby Russell. Russell going in for a tackle, and somebody is hurt. It looks like the number 13, Neeskens, is on the ground, but the play goes on. Tueart on this side of the field. Bugsy Neeskens going in for the tackle, comes to Perrin. Perrin to Carlos Alberto, and it's City moving forward. It's Neeskens going past Moraes. Eskandarian coming in. Clever play by that player to win a goal kick for the New York Cosmos, but all of a sudden Cosmos, who've looked so really so in control, so relaxed, suddenly finding themselves under a great deal of pressure, and the advent of Northcote and some fairly ferocious tackling from the Adelaide City players, no doubt under instructions from Rasic to get stuck into it in the second half, similarly to the way the Socceroos did in Sydney on Wednesday night, paying early dividends, and City looking a far better outfit. Neeskens to Tueart. Tueart and Bugsy Neeskens, goes past Bugsy Neeskens. He's got Neeskens outside him, but surely some pushing there by Tueart, and referee Campbell agreeing with that assessment and has awarded a free kick to Adelaide City just on the edge of the City penalty box. And Tueart playing a little bit of fun and games. Campbell says free kick, and Bugsy Neeskens pushes the ball back to Peter Marshall. Marshall really hasn't had a great deal to do apart from picking the ball out of his net in the first half, but he hasn't been called upon to make many saves at this stage. Comes to Northcote again. Northcote and Dixie going for the ball. Bit of pushing there, but referee says that it's Moraes, unable to keep the ball in play, and it's a throw into City. And as we talk, you can see Sergio Melter on this side starting to warm up, going up and down the touchline, but Deans decides to leave the free kick to Gary Muraki. Muraki to Perrin, back to Muraki, very tight on that side to Perrin. Perrin forward to Muraki, clever ball. Muraki into the middle, oh, there go the heads, but only as far as Glenn Dodds. He can't quite control the ball. Does so at the second attempt, pushes the ball behind him to give himself a little bit of space. Clever play by Glenn Dodds, he's gone through the whole defence. A shot by Glenn Dodds, and a fine move. Clever skills by Glenn Dodds, but unfortunately the finishing shot wasn't a terribly good one, but the build-up was good. Everybody was expecting the pass. He went on his own, made space for himself, but as I say, the final shot whistling fairly harmlessly over goalkeeper Birkenmeier's goal. Taken quickly to Marias. Marias has got two City players on him and pushes the ball back to Carlos Alberto. Alberto on the left to Formoso. Formoso having the ball almost taken away from him by Northcote, goes to Marias. Marias back to Formoso and then back to Carlos Alberto. Alberto forward looking for Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer losing the ball to another ferocious tackle by Gary Muraki, out on the right again to Northcote. Comes to Muniz. Muniz forward. Looking for John Perrin. John Perrin having a very good game this afternoon. He slows the game down, waiting for Glenn Dodds to come into an attacking position. If he can get the ball across quickly, it could be trouble. But once again, the build-up by City slow on that occasion. The build-up too slow to really trouble the Cosmos defence. Although they've won themselves a throw-in. Dodds to take it. Inside to Perrin, back to Dodds. Formosa going at him, he's gone past him. But the centre finds Beckenbauer. Back to Formosa, out onto the left. Forward to Sininho. Sininho, the Portuguese international. He's got space. Tueart going forward. Tueart losing the ball to Neeskens. Comes to Muniz. Muniz forward, and a free kick has been found for a foul by Vladislav Bogićević on Aggie Muniz. And the crowd certainly liking that decision by referee Campbell. Muniz with the free kick. It's a high floated one looking for Dixie Deans. Heads it forward. He got his head to it, but he couldn't put any control behind it, and it whistled past the post. But that was a cleverly flighted ball from Muniz, and Deans did well to get on the end of it. But in fact, it's come off the head. After it hit Deans, it must have got a nudge onto one of the Cosmos defenders, because referee Campbell has given a corner kick to City. I certainly didn't see it, but referee Campbell was a lot closer than I, and he's given a corner kick to City, taken by Aggie Muniz. Forward it goes, headed down. Muniz will keep it in play. He'll pump the ball back into the middle, too close to Birkenmeier, I think, and Birkenmeier pulls off a save. Glenn Northcote, I think. Yes, I think it was Northcote, went into the goalkeeper, and poor old Birkenmeier once again in the wars. He received a kick from Aggie Muniz in the first half, which required a little bit of attention, and that challenge by Brian Northcote, certainly when Northcote went in, the ball wasn't in the goalkeeper's arms, but goalkeeper Birkenmeier, judging, appears to have had a bit of a kick in the head, and he's receiving some attention from the Cosmos trainers. We've been playing 9 minutes into the second half. Still a score here of Adelaide City 0, New York Cosmos 1, a goal scored by Dennis Tueart for Cosmos in the 14th minute of the first half, and Birkenmeier, the goalkeeper, receiving attention on the edge of his goal area. A crowd of an estimated 20 to 22,000 people here at the Olympic Sports Field to watch this game this afternoon. One of the biggest soccer crowds I think I've certainly ever seen in Adelaide. The next closest would be the 16,000 that watched the last game of last year's Phillips League game, where West Adelaide beat Adelaide City by, drew in fact, 1 goal each, but that was sufficient to win the title for them. And you can certainly see as Birkenmeier receives attention, the extent of this crowd. We estimate it somewhere between 20 and 22,000 people who've come to the Olympic Sports Field to watch what's proved to be a very entertaining game of football. The game gets underway again. Beckenbauer with the ball, pushing the ball to Marias, one of the sweepers in the Cosmos defence, and it's a sign that Cosmos perhaps are a little bit rattled that they're slowing the game right down again now, giving the ball to Birkenmeier, perhaps also to allow him to find his feet again before the game really gets underway again in earnest. The ball to Vladislav Bogićević. He loses the ball to Mulrocky. Mulrocky back to Bessier. Bessier, a neat ball, looking for Northcote, looking for Dodds, but he can't control it. And the ball has gone out of play on the far side of the field for another throw-in to Cosmos. Comes to Marias. He's got Eskandarian square, tries to give the ball to Chinaglia, but he's robbed by Russell, and to be honest, that surely was a free kick. As it turned out, that was not really the referee's fault. It appeared that Russell had nowhere to go. He gave him a free kick, but then, having blown his whistle, Russell in fact was able to take the ball away and move himself into an attacking position. Ball comes to Mulrocky. Mulrocky to Muniz. Again, it's too slow. Perrin is there, Tueart is there, and Eskandarian now on the right for Cosmos, Iranian full international. He goes in for the tackle with Bugsy Niskahus and has won himself a free kick. The tackle from Niskahus didn't appear very savage, but it certainly he impeded the progress of Eskandarian. And here comes Marias moving forward for the first time in the game, and Russell it was who cleared the ball away, but only as far as Eskandarian. Eskandarian to Tueart. Eskandarian going there on the right. Here comes the cross. Chinaglia on the end of it, and a great save by Peter Marshall in the Adelaide City goal. He's grown in confidence as the season has progressed, and this, the last competitive soccer match of the season, he really is in full flight. That was a superb save. Muniz with the ball. Bugsy Niskahus outside him. Deans there as well. Deans turns to make time for himself. Mulrocky going forward. He's got Northcote on the far side. Finds that player, but Northcote unable to control it. The ball was too deep, and all that endeavour results in nothing more but than a throw-in on the far side of the field to Cosmos. The game has been played in patches. Cosmos at times moving forward have looked very good indeed, but then at times they've dilly-dallied in their own penalty box, playing the sort of clever possession football, but really nothing that would lead to any great danger. And now here's trouble for Deans. Deans looking for Niskahus. Deans trying to go through on his own, crossing the ball across, looking this time for Northcote. Northcote can't control it, and Formoso on the far side. I really don't think Northcote is 100% fit. He seems still to be carrying that leg injury that I mentioned when he came on at the half-time interval. I don't think he's 100% fit, but I think that Rasic, the Adelaide City coach, gambled on him because City really needed his strength and determination in midfield. Marias with the ball now. He's got Chinaglia forward. Chinaglia going for the run, but pushes the ball to Sininho. Sininho and Dodds going for the ball. Comes to Johnny Neeskens, but he just can't quite control it. That was a great pity. A lovely move again by City. And Formoso, no, I think it's Carlos Alberto who pushes the ball to Marias. Marias to Bogićević. Bogićević, a very powerful player, to Dodds. Dodds to Mulrocky. And Bogićević. Bogićević, the number 8 for Cosmos, getting a yellow card for that foul on Gary Mulrocky. And if I can quickly explain, a yellow card is the first offence normally given for a caution. You get a yellow card, and if the same player does really anything else major wrong during the game, they receive a red card, and that is automatic expulsion for the remainder of the game. So Bogićević will have to watch some of his tackles from now on. We've been playing just on quarter of an hour of the second half, 60 minutes of the game in total, and Cosmos 1 lead Adelaide City 0. Ball to Glenn Dodds on the right-hand side of the field. Dodds to Northcote, lovely ball. Can he control it? I think he can, but Marias, I think it was, certainly Marias it was, with a clever sort of half-reverse bicycle kick, able to put the ball behind for a corner kick to Adelaide City. Sergio Melter, the substitute who was warming up, has sat down again, so Rale Rasic obviously deciding that this is his best combination at the moment, and Aggie Muniz with the corner kick for City. High it goes, looking for Birkenmeier, but that goalkeeper, a very good goalkeeper he is too. He was recommended to Cosmos by the man on the ball at the moment, Franz Beckenbauer, former Tennis Borussia and FC Freiburg defender, goalkeeper, and Chinaglia to Sininho. Chinaglia forward to Neeskens. Chinaglia going forward, receiving the ball now. He hasn't done a great deal this afternoon, but he's been tightly marked by Bobby Russell. And a throw-in on the far side of the field to Cosmos, taken by Formoso to Bogićević, the man who was in the wars just a moment ago. Across the field from Alberto to Eskandarian, Eskandarian to Bogićević, leaving it for Neeskens. Neeskens, a nice ball to Eskandarian. He's got a little bit of space if he can centre quickly. Chinaglia is there! Oh, nice shot by Chinaglia, but Peter Marshall was there to deny Chinaglia's first real shot for goal in the afternoon. Formoso is there. Marias to Carlos Alberto. Alberto to Neeskens, playing rather deep for him at the moment. Across to Eskandarian, who built up that lovely move about half a moment ago. Across to Dennis Tueart, Tueart leaving it for Neeskens. The duel between Chinaglia and Bobby Russell has been a feature of the game. Alberto to his left to Formoso. Full US international out to Chinaglia, full Portuguese international. Every single player in the Cosmos side, with the exception of Birkenmeier, who's an amateur international, has worn the national shirts of their respective countries. Lovely skills by Chinaglia, losing the ball to Formoso. Formoso to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer forward, looking for Chinaglia. Muniz is there to Johnny Neeskens. Neeskens is there, he gone past two tackles, playing the advantage rule. Northcote on the far side, there's Muniz. Muniz to Deans. Deans going past Carlos Alberto. I don't think he's quite got the legs, keeping the ball in play at the moment, but not quite clever enough to fool a wily old fox like Carlos Alberto. And Muniz with his hands on his haunches, but the game goes on to Beckenbauer. Muniz in picture, fouled by Marias, and Marias, the number 31, will be spoken to by Campbell for that push, half sort of pull on Aggie Muniz. Quickly taken again out onto the right to Glenn Dodds. Looking forward for this. Ooh, a nice shot by Northcote. Dodds went down the right. Northcote appeared to be in a hopeless position on the byline. The ball came to him and he volleyed the ball not very far away from the left-hand upright of Birkenmeier, the Cosmos goalkeeper. We've been playing 18 minutes into the second half. Still only one goal, scored in the 14th minute of the first half by Dennis Tueart, the number 7 for Cosmos. Marias on the ball. Back to Carlos Alberto. Alberto to Marias. He's got time and space to build up a move for Cosmos. Alberto, not much movement up front, so the play gets held while players move into better positions. Chinaglia going forward, but the ball goes square and to the left to Marias. Into Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer's got Bogićević going for a run. Neeskens going with him. Neeskens down to Bogićević. Back to Neeskens. I think he's offside. The linesman on this side, certainly no hesitation at all in giving Neeskens offside from that delicate pass over the heads of the City defence from Vladislav Bogićević. Marshall to take it. It'll be a little tap to Bugsy Neeskens and then back to the goalkeeper. He bounces the ball a couple of times to let his players get down the centre of the field. Takes his kick now, deep and long down the middle of the field. Deans is there, heads the ball delicately on for Aggie Muniz. He's got Northcote going for a run. Northcote is there, can he head the ball back? But Northcote received a delightful ball from Aggie Muniz. Unfortunately, and it was hardly Aggie's fault because it was a very tricky ball to give. It was just a little bit too deep, and Northcote had to hit the ball on the half volley, and the ball went wide of the goal. But that was a nice move, fast, incisive, razor-like move forward by City, and that's when they've looked impressive. Flicked from Bessier to Glenn Dodds. City knowing that really they've got nothing to lose by going forwards. They trail by 1-0. It's really like a cup tie, and if the scores are level, apparently extra time and then the famous American shootout will be played. So really City only have to get 1 goal to be right back in this game, and then it appears that extra time and then possibly the American-style shootout will be played to determine a winner. But that's all conjecture, because Cosmos lead 1-0. Across the ball comes to a long shot, but not a very powerful shot, really, by Johnny Neeskens, and a goal kick to Cosmos. And this game being brought to you by WD&HO Wheels, the makers of Escort 25, and they're joining a crowd of, we estimate, between 20 and 25,000 watching a fascinating game of soccer here at the Olympic Sports Field at Kensington. The ball with Marias to his left to Carlos Alberto, back to Marias. Marias across to Franz Beckenbauer. Dean's going with him, Beckenbauer with time to push the ball out to Sininho. Sininho still with the ball. Sininho into Beckenbauer. Danger now, a little flick from Beckenbauer. He's hit the post! Headed forward by Neeskens. What a delightful piece of play by Beckenbauer. The shot looked hardly on, and out of nowhere Beckenbauer managed to conjure up a little bit of German magic, and the ball crashed against the Adelaide City crossbar, and Peter Marshall never even smelt it. Superb skills by Beckenbauer. Tueart on the ball. Forward to Neeskens. Neeskens to Tueart. The crowd not quite sure. And Neeskens in trouble with the referee. Neeskens getting a yellow card for referee Campbell. And he could be in deep trouble for his behaviour in regard to the referee. Certainly he wasn't in an offside position, but Eskandarian, the number 2, the player who'd gone outside him, was, and perhaps Neeskens didn't see him, but the referee, the linesman I mean, was quite right in giving that offside decision. Marshall with the ball. He holds the ball, waiting for players to get upfield. The crowd don't like it, but that's necessary to give players time to get into attacking positions. It goes off the head of Formoso, the Cosmos 25, and into touch for a throw-in to Adelaide City. We've been playing now 22 minutes of the second half, halfway through the second half, and still Cosmos 1, lead Adelaide City 0. Across the field it goes. Deans heads the ball down, cleared away by Neeskens, looking for Chinaglia. Handball by Perrin, but the referee didn't see it, only as far as Carlos Alberto. He decides to bypass his goalkeeper. Eskandarian to his right, Marias in the middle, and finally it finds Eskandarian, who'd made space on the right, to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer back to Carlos Alberto. Alberto forward, looking for Tueart. Tueart to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer moving forward more and more as this game gets on. But that was a poor pass, finds Glenn Dodds. Glenn Dodds having a very fine afternoon. He's made a lot of space, done a lot of attacking and some good defence. Comes to Muniz, a shot from Muniz! But just over the bar again from Muniz. Again a nice build-up. Glenn Dodds went down the right, pushed the ball inside to Muniz. He had Perrin square, but decided to have a shot himself, and a good shot it was too. Only about perhaps a foot and a half over the bar. Bogićević out to Eskandarian on the right. Eskandarian and Neeskens going for the ball. Comes to Johnny Bessir, who's had a majestic game in the defence for City, to Perrin. Perrin wanting a little bit too long. Forward, getting it at the second attempt. Marias going through. Here's Perrin. Perrin gets 3-on-3, but the final pass from Perrin, not a good one. He was looking for Deans. It was a 3-on-3 situation. Had he been able to find that player, City were through, but as it was Marias who read the play. Alberto going forward, looking for Bogićević. Comes to Chinaglia. Chinaglia lining up his one of his famed pile drivers, but wanting too long on that occasion. Morocco forward to Neeskens. Johnny Neeskens losing the ball to Neeskens, and Neeskens will be gently spoken to, I think, by the referee. Neeskens nurturing, looking a little bit leg weary, and so they should be. The Cosmos players have played. Here's a good ball, looking again for Chinaglia. Dodds is there, can't control it. Sininho is there, into the box he weaves, but a great tackle by Glenn Dodds. As I was saying, Cosmos have had a fairly arduous tour. They've played somewhere between... Oh! Deans is on his own, nobody with him. It's a 2-on-1 situation. Waiting for support, getting it now in the form of Northcote, but the final pass from Deans was a poor one. Northcote acknowledging the effort, but really that ball was too close to Birkenmeier for really City to do very much with it. Comes to Eskandarian, Eskandarian to Carlos Alberto, the man who led the Brazilian national side, to Beckenbauer, another World Cup winning captain, headed away by Bugsy Neeskens, comes to Chinaglia, great save, and a second goal scored by Chinaglia. There's an offence, I think. The referee put his hand in the air. I think he's given a goal. He certainly has given a goal. For a second I thought he wasn't going to. Chinaglia the goal scorer, and we'll see that again on the escort action replay. And City to kick off again, trailing now by 2-0. That was a beautiful goal by Chinaglia, making the score Cosmos 2, Adelaide City 0, and that goal coming in the 26th minute of the second half. So really now City having a great deal to do. A bad ball by Bessier, finding touch on the far side of the field, and Formoso to take it. Really, Bobby Russell has had the better, in my opinion, of Chinaglia this afternoon, but the one time that that player was given any space at all, he put the ball firmly into the back of the net. And now it's Sanino working his way down the left-hand side of the field. Dodds losing it. Bessier going forward. Now the ball comes to Bobby Russell. Russell forward. Oh, a bad pass, but cleared away, but only as far as Neeskens. Neeskens to Bogićević. Bogićević looking for Chinaglia, but the ball was cut out on the far side of the field. And City worked their way forwards again. Comes to John Perrin, who's moving further and further upfield as the game progresses. He's got Dodds out on his right. He's got Muniz on his left. Going into a little bit of an alley at the moment. Back for Northcote. Leaves it for Morocchi. Morocchi and Northcote going together. Holding the ball too long. And partly that's the fault of the other players. No players telling Morocchi that he had a player on him, because he certainly never accelerated his move at all. And Cosmos, I think, may already have done enough to have pulled out this this game, leading by 2-0. We've been playing 28 minutes of the second half. Goal in the first half by Dennis Tueart, a goal in the second half, in fact 2 minutes ago, by Chinaglia. And it's Northcote now with the ball, leaving it for Perrin. Perrin forwards looking for Neeskens. Neeskens. Oh! And somebody else is going to be in trouble with the referee. 7 Tueart, a fairly gratuitous foul on Johnny Neeskens, and Tueart rather lucky, I feel, not to incur the wrath of referee Campbell. That was a blatant and very late tackle, and Donald Campbell obviously in a little bit of a charitable mood at this stage of the proceedings. And another substitution. It looks as if Johnny Bessier is coming off. Yes, it's John Bessier coming off, and it looks as if Sergio Melter is going on. It's a bit hard to tell the numbers, but in fact Sergio Melter normally wears number 6. Quickly taken, headed downwards, only as far as Melter, who's just come on. A shot from Melter, but in fact the ball was further away than it appeared from where we were watching, and the ball went past the post. But Melter, with his first kick of the game, showing certainly what his intentions are, with a powerful shot towards goal. And that's what City have to do now. There's no point playing possession football. They've got to go forward, they've got to take risks, and if they concede further goals, that's just too bad. They've got to give their forwards every chance of pulling back this 2-goal deficit. Neeskens with the ball, throws the ball back to Perrin. Perrin will go back into a sweeper role, leaving Sergio Melter free in the midfield, and already Perrin has gone back into that position, giving the ball to Melter. Melter and Bogićević going for the ball. Comes to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer to his left to Sanino. Sanino and Dodds going together. Sanino goes past Dodds. Still Dodds is there. Inside it comes. Morocchi with the ball. Out to Dodds. And forward goes City again. Sanino tackling back and winning the ball away from Dodds. Good defensive play from that player. Marias to Carlos Alberto. Eskandarian on his right. decides to put the ball to his left to Dennis Tueart. Nice ball looking for that player, but Perrin is there. Perrin and Tueart having a right royal argy-bargy. Tueart winning the ball. Tueart comes to Muniz. Comes to Bugsy Neeskens. Neeskens looking for his brother, but Eskandarian is there. Eskandarian going forward. He's got Bobby Russell between him and the goal. Eskandarian forward. Taken away by Neeskens, but that was clever play by the Dutch international, but luckily for City, Marshall anticipated and came off his angle. But clever 1-2s by the Cosmos players. As I mentioned in the first half, when they move forward with such speed after fairly slow and deliberate build-up. Bugsy Neeskens going forward now. Neeskens with the ball. Eskandarian is there, but his pass not a good one. Bogićević forward. Neeskens losing the ball to Dodds. Dodds losing the ball to Marias. Game becoming a little bit scrappy now as both sets of players get a little leg weary. The game's been played at a fairly frenetic pace. Melter is there. He wins the ball away from Sanino. Back to Marshall. Marshall tries the other flank to Dodds. Dodds to Russell. Russell to Neeskens. He appeared to be being pushed by Formoso, but referee Campbell waiting for the play on, trying to give City the advantage, which is the correct thing to do. Comes to Aggie Muniz. Muniz is through! Muniz is through, and he hits the ball just over the post. One wonders whether, had he fallen, he might have managed to get himself a penalty kick. I don't think Campbell was going to be interested, but just for a moment Muniz was clear. His shot wasn't a particularly good one, but he was certainly stumbling to get his footing as he went forward to get the kick. And again, that quick, incisive thrust forward by City has been when they look the most impressive. 33 minutes now of the second half gone. Another 12 of the game remaining. Time enough for City to come back, but at the moment it's the Cosmos on the ball through Marias. Marias leaving it to Beckenbauer. Back to Marias. Sanino on his right, a clever ball. Sanino and Bugsy Neeskens going for the ball together. Johnny Neeskens getting involved as well, and the moral of the story is two Neeskenses are better than one, and they win the ball. To Perrin. Perrin to Melter. Melter to Neeskens. Neeskens looking for Melter, but losing the ball to Sanino, a very hard-working winger. He's been involved in a great many moves, moving forward when Cosmos go forward and back in his own half on occasions to take the ball. Neeskens forward now for Deans. Can Deans get the ball away? He losing the ball in a tackle to Beckenbauer. Marias forward looking for Eskandarian. He's moving forward more and more as the game goes on. To Muniz. Muniz and Bogićević together. Comes to Russell. Russell's got Dodds on his right. Goes forwards on his own. Straight down the middle of the ground. Looking for Deans. Got Northcote on his right. Ball goes behind Northcote. He's got Glenn Dodds if he wants to use him. Dodds on the right. Inside to Dodds now. Here comes Dodds. This could be a pile driver from Glenn Dodds. He's gone through the whole defence, but Marias is there. The final pass from City seemingly always to go astray, but the build-up has been good. They've played well, but Cosmos very cool in defence, very hard to ruffle, and apart from that incredible pile driver that hit the post, Birkenmeier, here comes City again. Sanino is there, so is Tueart. Across it goes, and the ball that came across looking for Sanino went past the goal, and it results in a throw-in on this side of the field to City. Comes to Neeskens. Neeskens to Gary Marocchi. Marocchi, a nice long ball forward looking for Deans. He's got Northcote behind him. He's got Dodds square. Finds that player. Lovely ball to Dodds. Dodds down the right. Dodds has got Northcote forward. He's got Deans further afield. The ball must be got across quickly. Here comes a shot. Oh! A lovely shot from Glenn Dodds again. Dodds, in my opinion, probably the best City player on the park. He's worked tirelessly. And you can see him there in picture looking a tired man, but he really has earned his keep this afternoon. He's been in defence when required. He's moved forward on countless occasions. And Glenn Dodds, the New Zealand international, would be very high on my list of best City player on the ground today. Back to Birkenmeier. 35 minutes of the second half gone. 10 minutes of the game remaining. Carlos Alberto on the ball, forward to Formoso. Formoso back to Franz Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer to Bogićević. He loses the ball to, if they can get it across, but Beckenbauer cuts out the important pass that would have gone to Deans. Bogićević with the ball. Bogićević to Eskandarian. Eskandarian back to Birkenmeier. Birkenmeier to Marias. A clever ball to Carlos Alberto. The legs are weary. You can see the pace slowing down. The players have given their all this afternoon. There's been no hint that Cosmos have been fudging on this game. Tueart going forward. Dodges out. He's gone through the whole defence. A clever ball looking for, I think it was Marias. Yes, it was Marias, number 31, who normally playing as a central defender, but he'd worked his way into the box. And that's the sort of total football that Cosmos play, and Bogićević being penalised, I think. No, the referee allowing the advantage because Marshall has the ball. Marshall looking for someone to make a move, finding Neeskens. Neeskens going up for the ball with Eskandarian. Comes to his brother Bugsy Neeskens. Comes to Muniz. Muniz, some nice touches. Excuse me, looking for Sergio Melter, who came on some 10 minutes ago. Melter, a ball into the middle, but far too close to the goalkeeper. And Melter can do that all afternoon, says Mr. Birkenmeier. Thank you very much indeed. No problems at all as he pulls that one in and pushes the ball square to Carlos Alberto. Alberto and Eskandarian going for the ball, but Eskandarian, the Iranian international. And we have another substitution being made. It appears that unlike international football, as many substitutions as they wish, or certainly 3, and Charlie Villani, the childhood sweetheart of the Adelaide City team, he's only 16, he's played about 12 or 14 PSL games, and this no doubt will be the biggest moment of his career as he comes on for the last 7 or 8 minutes of the game. A very skillful player, a junior Australian international, and without a doubt one of the brightest prospects in Australian soccer. On the far side, Dennis Tueart with the ball, losing the ball to Brian Northcote. City players going forward in numbers. Neeskens is there, Northcote is there. Northcote is onside. He flicks the ball. Can he get the ball into the middle? He can't. Comes to Neeskens. Deans, I'm sorry, in the excitement of the moment we got confused. A corner kick, no, a goal kick. Deans and Tueart with a wide grin. That was a nice move. Brian Northcote made it possible with some selfless running into the box. Tried to have the shot, saw it wasn't on. Pushed the ball inside to Dixie Deans, but he was unable to get a final shot in. And we've got 6.5, 7 minutes of the game remaining. New York Cosmos 1, lead Adelaide City 0, in a game being brought to you by WD&HO Wheels, the makers of Escort 25, as Beckenbauer pushing a ball to Eskandarian. Eskandarian showing some delicate touches. Going forward now, Eskandarian. And comes now to Eskandarian. Eskandarian pushing the ball in to Neeskens again, and Etherington, the player who came on, I didn't see him come on, must have come on very sneakily a few moments ago. He's again a very young, promising American player, one of the 4 American players in the Cosmos squad. Ball to Eskandarian again, to Carlos Alberto, back to Eskandarian, to Etherington, and another substitution being made. Number 16, Carbagnani, the South American player, coming on, and Vladislav Bogićević going off. I must confess I didn't see the first substitution, but looking, it looks, yes it is, it's number 11 Sanino who went off, and number 21 Etherington who came on, and the second substitution is number 16 Carbagnani coming on, and the number 8 Bogićević going off. So we've now got about 5 minutes of this game remaining, and Adelaide City 0, trailing the New York Cosmos 2. And just recapping, in case there's been talk that the Cosmos team is a sort of Harlem Globetrotters team, that they're just a bunch of professionals brought together from time to time as a troupe to play. That's not so. The New York Cosmos is a first division side ordinary First Division side that plays in the North American Soccer League, so the equivalent of the PSL in America. They play regularly, home and away, and there's no way that these players are playing anything but for keeps. This is their trade, this is their livelihood. Into the middle it comes again, Chinaglia trying to get in on the ball. He's won himself a corner kick, and Dennis Tueart to take it. Tueart looking for a short one. Eskandarian is there if he wants him, but I think it'll be a long ball deep into the box. Tueart marking out where he wants the ball to go. Headed forward. It was Carbagnani who went for the ball. Long and deep is the ball from City, but a fairly useless, fairly aimless ball at this stage of the proceedings. No trouble at all for Carlos Alberto. He pushes it to Maguires. Maguires forward. Nice ball out onto the left to Etherington. Etherington going past Dodds is fouled. Advantage played. Still Etherington with the ball. He pushes it to Chinaglia. Chinaglia trying to go forwards. Comes to Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer looking for a player making space. He's got Eskandarian behind him. The ball goes to that player forward. It could go to Neeskens. Instead it goes to Maguires. Maguires square to Carlos Alberto. He looking for Carbagnani, but the ball comes to Northcote, and an offside decision against Charlie Villani, the Adelaide City number 17, the youngster who came on for the last 4 or 5 minutes of this game. Still Cosmos 2 leads City 0. A nice ball for Beckenbauer. I think the crowd would love to see him do some real magic before this game is out. Back to Beckenbauer, behind him for Tueart. It was a lazy ball by Beckenbauer and pays the penalty. Looking for Deans. Deans and Maguires going for the ball, and referee Campbell has seen a free kick for a foul by Dennis Tueart on the number 9 for Adelaide City, Dixie Deans. 42.5 minutes of the second half gone. Time really has run out for City. Melter on the ball, wins the throw in from Eskandarian. Referee Campbell indicating that the ball had come off the leg of Eskandarian, taken by Neeskens to Muniz. I think the crowd would love to see City manage to put at least one in the back of the net, but time running out for them now. So they're in good company. Victoria last Sunday. Clever play by Etherington. He finds Neeskens. Neeskens has got Chinaglia. He's got Tueart. Tueart who scored the first goal. Out it comes now to Neeskens. You can hear the crowd yelling score. They want, if possible, a goal. Deans looks offside, but Neeskens has lost the ball, wins the ball again, loses it again to Maguires. Villani going for the ball, but only finds the number 16 in Carbagnani. Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer forward for Etherington, a very skillful player. Comes to Perrin. Perrin forwards, waiting for someone to make a move. Nobody going for the run. A lovely ball looking for Melter, but doesn't find that player. Comes to Eskandarian. Etherington to Etherington. Beckenbauer. Tueart. Beckenbauer. Maguires. No, holding the ball himself. Etherington to his right. Etherington goes past Melter. Alberto calling for the ball. Neeskens, Eskandarian, Carlos Alberto, Chinaglia, Alberto, Carbagnani, the South American player, forward looking for Chinaglia. A lovely tackle again from Russell. Muroki, Northcote, and into touch for a throw-in on the far side to Adelaide City. By my watch, a minute of ordinary time remaining, plus perhaps a little bit of injury time for the injury to Birkenmeier in the second half. Muniz, Neeskens square. His brother forwards. Perrin, Dodds on the right. Ball goes to Dodds. Dodds to Villani. Oh, and Deans it was who very nearly got on the end of that. Comes inside to Carbagnani. And he's onside. Tueart is onside. It's a 1-against-1 situation. Neeskens in the middle. A beautiful piece of play by Bobby Russell to cut out that ball. But it doesn't matter anyway. The whistle blown by referee Donald Campbell, giving us a final scoreline here at the Olympic Sports Field, Kensington, of Adelaide City 0, New York Cosmos 2. An excellent game played in a very nice spirit. The players milling away. Beckenbauer going down the tunnel now. Carbagnani going down the tunnel. The Adelaide City players. There goes Neeskens, Chris Kent. A galaxy of soccer feast of players, named players like you'll rarely see in Australia. Certainly in Australia, the way things have been in the past, the sorts of teams that have come. But the moral of the story, and one that would well be learnt by all federations in Australia, is if they bring the big clubs, the named players, they promote the game properly the way this game's been promoted, then they can enjoy the rewards of a crowd, as we say, which we estimate at between 20 and 22,000. A crowd that will wend their way home tonight, satisfied that perhaps they would have liked City perhaps to get a couple of goals, but satisfied that they've seen a game, a real degree of skill, City playing excellent soccer, perhaps a little unlucky not to score, but a game that the people who came here this afternoon will remember for a very long time to come. On behalf of WD and HO Wheels, the makers of Escort 25, who made possible this telecast, this is Pierre Vickery returning you to the studio.